Hello, I'm being joined by Phil Swain of Q4 Active today. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Great. I appreciate you coming on. Um, I was your business is really interesting, especially somebody who my parents opened a gym when I was really young, and I started exercising when I don't know, I was probably 14. And so I do have some background. My mom majored in health and fitness, and I have some experience with gyms and health and fitness. And but I was looking at your LinkedIn, and I noticed, it was a couple years ago that you posted, but it was about cognitive function, and a woman doing some activity at Q4 Active that is helps with cognitive function. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
About Q4 Active?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, and just I mean, it looks like you have a very different I haven't seen a fitness center like that before.
No, well, you know what? Again, I've been in the business since the mid 70s, back Victani days. That's a long time ago. Grew up in fitness, came out to California, was involved in some pretty good brands, big brands. Sports club company. We had the Sports Connection. That was back in the early 80s. That was one of the first co-ed gyms. We ended up building the Spectrum clubs. We did the big Sports Club LA's, did the big Reebok Sports Club in New York. So talking trends, I've seen all of them from every other day clubs, men and women didn't work out together than they did. And in fact, I go back in the days where they used to have cold plunges in them, and now all the cold plunges are back. So I've seen a lot of it. But left sports club in '05 and then went to with private equity guys. The company was called Yoga Works, and this was '05, and that was before yoga took off, and the idea was scale yoga. I did that. We successfully exited, I think, and well, it took a while. I was there almost 11 years. Went through the recession of '08 and whatnot. But even then, I started to notice that, I saw the fitness industry booming and all these franchises and Orange Theory and F45. And like nobody was paying attention to older adults. I'm 68 now, and I like to think that the boomers built the fitness industry, but there's booming fitness franchises, Rumble, boxing, you name it. But what's for older adults? So seeing that, I thought, well, hey, maybe there's an opportunity here to do something. So I started to research it, but that's when I started to see, oh my God, I had no idea about Alzheimer's and dementia. I mean, I knew what they were, but I had no idea how big of a problem that it is and the bigger problem's growing. I started seeing in my research multi-million dollar memory care centers that they're building just waiting for people to come to them. So it's like big business now. But in that research, also found out that there are things that people could be doing. People should be aware. They should start earlier. So that said, the concept of Q4 Active is your fourth quarter of your life should be your best quarter, but you got to be prepared for it. And also, it's never too late. You can even do things in that fourth quarter. And the concept was to focus on older adults, but we are also integrate a large portion of what we do is cognitive fitness. So there's research out there at universities and clinics, but why not put it in a commercial, viable, and make it accessible to everyday people? So that's kind of a summary of what we're doing at Q4 Active. We did hook up Dr. Neil Martin. He was head of neurosurgery at UCLA, was one of our first Sports Club LA members. Brought him in early. He introduced us to another doctor, Dr. Sarah McEwen. She's a cognitive psychologist, but she developed a brain gym at UCLA, Pacific Neuro Research Center, San Diego State. And with her, some of her studies, we developed, evidence-based programming to focus on different cognitive domains. We've also integrated into our program, there's some technology out there. And basically, one of the best things you can do for the brain and brain health is we know that exercise is good for the brain. You get oxygen, cognitive exercise, thinking, crossword puzzles. But when you put a cognitive load on when you're exercising, in other words, simultaneously having to think and move, the neurons fire together. And that's science. And that's one of the best things you can do. So how do we do that? At the core of our program, we have our studio. We run an interval circuit program. I hate to use the word F45, but picture an F45, but it's a little more sophisticated programming geared towards older adults. one of our stations, we have 6 stations, and every station has a purpose, balance, strength. But we have our brain station, which is this technology called Smart Fit. And they're these big wall panels, and they've got the light pods, and they have different programs. When you get to that station, you might have weighted balls, and you have to count by threes. So 3, 6, 9, you're looking and you're moving. And in our circuit, you do a minute at each station, 30 seconds, rotate around. We'll also integrate some low tech stuff where maybe there's word pairs on the wall and they got to pick a word pair. And when they get to the next station, find the other one. So layering in when we can, but the SmartFit technology is pretty neat. Our sessions are 45-minute sessions. They're, functional fitness. They're results oriented. They're fun. They're social. So we're adding that component of brain health as well. We also run separate semi-private classes just strictly on the SmartFit wall, where it's 45 minutes where they're just working on that wall, where it's heavier on the cognitive. Then I have a separate room where I call it we do privates like anybody else, private training, semi-privates, but we have programs that are heavier on the cognitive. We have that Smart Fit, a miniature version in that room. We have a technology called Senso. So these are self-guided cognitive training programs that members can book and work on for a half hour at a time. And we do workshops and other things. So essentially, we've created a safe place for older adults, even if they don't have any cognitive issues. These are people that wouldn't go into a 24-hour in LA Fitness, even though their Medicare lets them go for free. What's that do? They get to go for free, but what are they doing when they get there? So so this is our prototype we've opened. My goal would be to take this to franchise. That was the vision in the beginning when I raised the money. We're working through it. We're up to about 140 members right now, average age 70, people in their 50s, people in their late 80s. And that's
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive. I was there thinking the whole time of how genius of an idea this is. And that makes sense of why I've never seen anything like it, because I mean nothing exists like this, right? That
well,
I've never heard of it.
is if I've been in the fitness industry, like I said, since the 70s. Was on the board of IRSA. IRSA's not around anymore, but the trade association. And seen a lot of it. So when I first raised this money, it was some friends, family, and then some industry guys that knew me. But the industry is completely ignoring this demographic. They just kind of, they're already focusing. I went to the trade show for a day in Vegas this year. You walk on the trade show floor, I'll tell you the trends right now, they're all moving back to weight training, plate loaded new stuff, but the plates loading up with the plates, less selectorized. I still work out. It's converting to a crunch. I know the guys that own Crunch, and they're putting tons of new equipment in, but the message is this is not for older people. This is for this next generation coming up. So it just seems that it's been written off. And part of it is there have been challenges. It is a different marketing. It is a different sales process. It is a different demographic, but it's a great demographic and it's a huge demographic. So we've had our challenges along the way, but I think we're kind of hitting our stride right now, kind of know where we can reach the people, how we need to communicate to them. And I got to tell you, it's mission driven too. We're making a big difference in people's lives. But brain health is big. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of what's going on with it. And right now, medical community, they're all racing, but nobody's come up with a drug. They all want to come up with a drug. We kind of have I'm not saying that we're a cure. We're preventative. We're helpful to people that are dealing with cognitive issues, but it's not just all about that either. So anyway, didn't mean
I
to go tangent there.
No, it's very fascinating, and just I've had these thoughts in my life many times where someone like you comes up with this very groundbreaking idea, and I've just somehow not been able to do that in my life. But
I don't know. You got a podcast
just
going on.
well, I mean you've come up with something that it's just there's a market there, but there's nothing serving that market, right? And it's
No, it is, but it's interesting that I know a lot of the players in the fitness industry, and you know, uh, again, some people just don't get it. We're at the early stage right now, but this is a huge opportunity. But I'm out raising another round right now. When I talk to people in the fitness space, they want to talk about, well, what are your metrics? What are your retention? Hey guys, this was an idea. This is an idea now that's come to fruition, but it's going to take a little more investment, but when this thing takes off, this could be huge. Anyways,
I mean,
yeah, hearing some of my frustration, everybody said, "Hey, this is a great idea." Well, then it's a great idea. Back me up.
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it sounds like a great idea to me. I go to a gym that's close to my house, and there's sometimes I might see once in a while an older person in there, but you're right. I mean, generally there's not, and I never really thought about that. I never really thought, well,
Yeah, there.
like,
It's not. What's how do I want to say it? Well, first off, is the programming, the fitness industry will chase, seems like they're chasing the next generation all the time. And this seems to be a forgotten generation. What they'll do is they might offer a silver sneaker class on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock. Medicare now, if you're LA Fitness or 24 Hour, those are the big guys. You sign up on their program and seniors get to go for free. And then you track how many times they come in, you put a report, you send it to them, and they pay you like maybe $8 a visit for them. So, they're giving you dimes on the dollar. But for those guys, it doesn't matter. They'll let anybody in. They're seeing 1,500, 2,000 people a day in those clubs, some of them. But this is more hands-on. There's always a coach with them. It's a safe environment. They're with their own demographic. And yeah, I got a lot of proof of concept right now. But the first studio still has some work to do. I got to get it in the black. So our next stage is we're close to getting there, and then it's like let's go to franchise, man, because the model is very franchisable.
it sounds like it for sure. I was actually, while you were explaining this, I have a family member right now, a close family member who is dealing with cognitive issues right now, and we've been trying to do research to figure out what could be good for them. Like what she could be doing to help. I guess what's the word?
Well, how old is she?
She's in her upper seven.
Yeah, I mean that's to me that's still young. And is it forgetfulness? Is it just yeah?
Yep, like you can have a conversation and then 5 minutes later be having the same conversation. You know,
Well, exercise is good. Diet, sleep. But actually, when we get done here, if you go to the App Store, we have our Studio app, but we also have a Q4 Active brain app that we did with Dr. McEwen. And it's an audio app, and she can download it if she's got a smartphone. And what the programs are, if she's walking somewhere safe, or if you've got her on a treadmill or a stationary bike, it's got little challenges that she listens to. And it might be every time you hear an odd number, tap the phone twice, even number, tap once, but it's be making her think why she's moving. In fact, even if she just sat in the chair and played around with it, it would get her thinking a little. But you can download that after we get done here. It's no charge at all. It's free. It's called the Q4 Active Brain app.
oh wow.
But yeah, I would get her exercising. That's number one. Make sure she's sleeping, and I don't know if she's isolated and alone. Um, that's important too. That she's socially engaged with other people.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely want to get her this app. It's been hard. It's been hard to know how to help, and then also the conversations around this subject, right? Of like,
Things I've learned a lot, but one, the conversation around it's tough. But they find out now that like general practitioners, one, they don't really know how to diagnose. They've really got it. Two, even if they feel they do, they don't want to necessarily have that conversation. It's a hard conversation. You got a loved one that ends up with Alzheimer's or bad dementia. It's a burden on the loved ones. It's like, what do you do? Where are you gonna, what do we do about this? And then as it gets worse, it's even harder sometimes because they could be angry, they don't remember it's you. It can be really hard, for some people. But love, attention, keep her active, diet. There's if you look into it, they call it the Mind Diet, which is endorsed by the Mayo Clinic. Basically, it's Mediterranean, plant-based diet, low sodium, but food, whatever she's eating too. You should start paying attention to some of that. Do some research on that. But have you heard of the blue zones? Have you ever heard of that?
no,
All right. So blue zones, if you look it up, blue zones are areas around the world where there's a cluster, a population of centurions, people that are living to 100 and over 100. There's Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, I forget where, Yorba Linda, California. And basically, well, this research started in Sardinia, but here's the bottom line. The common thing is, well, diet. They're all pretty much all on Mediterranean plant-based diets for the most part. Now they're active, physically active, social engagement, community, and less and reduce stress. I mean, we live in a world today where it's no wonder with our brain health, the crap we're eating, people are under stress, they're not exercising. What percentage of our population is obese right now? It's just insane. I mean, the food's poison almost that we're eating. So, there's just a lot of things that we're doing that are, and then the answer for everybody is the drug company. So that's the other thing. You get seniors, I think they call it polypharma, where they're on 3 to 4 to 5 different medications, and all those medications have different side effects for different people. And take this one, take that. I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but that's, if we're going to age, it's not rocket science what we should be doing if we want to age right.
Right. Yeah, it's 100%. It's weird that, well, it's not weird. I know there's a reason for it all.
Yeah. If you got stock in Pfizer, then
Yeah.
you'll edit this part of the podcast.
Yeah, I definitely don't. No, yeah, thanks for that info. I want to check out that app and have another conversation. Can you share a bit about your role and how it fits in the bigger picture at Q4 Active?
Well, my role is founder. I don't know, title means nothing. CEO of like 7 or 8 team members right now. But no, I'm actively involved daily in the studio. Um, yeah, so that's my role, making sure, pushing the sales like I did 30 years, 40 years ago. And right now I need to raise some more capital. So it's between time in the studio and getting the capital to take the next step.
Okay. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Typical day. Get up. Well, if it's my day to exercise, get my workout in. Certain days of the week, actually go open up the studio, or get, and again, focus in on different programs and different ideas. So our circuit program, we're always, even though they're 45-minute sessions, we mix up what they do, and we have different themes for the different classes. But we got social events. We're starting a walking club. We've got the afternoon in the studio. We do movie afternoons. We're going to start ping pong, so we're doing other things to create the socialization. But no, my typical day right now is focusing on driving the studio and working on the next chapter.
Awesome. Okay. What from a business aspect, what's working well for you right now? What's been frustrating, especially where this is such a new concept?
Well, what's working well is we're seeing that this demographic responds. We're seeing the results. We're seeing that we're helping people. So we know that we know the formula that we've got's good. What the frustrating part is, like in any business, is being properly capitalized. And marketing's been my biggest challenge. One, I probably didn't raise enough money in the beginning. I was just maybe overconfident on, when I went over to run Yoga Works, we were the first ones to do the membership model for yoga. And, I took my playbook from the sports club days, ran pre-sales, opened up with 900 to 1,000 members. And, well, the world's changed, in terms of marketing. So yeah, the marketing has been the challenge, but I feel like we've now zeroed in on what works, what doesn't work. And, yeah, what's good is our programming's good. People respond to it. If we get them in the door, our conversion rate's pretty darn high. Our retention rate's high. We do have attrition issues that you might not deal with, that are real, that have nothing to do with our programming. Doctor's appointment. A lot of retired people do travel, so they want to take some time off to travel. But it's getting them in the door, and getting that message out. And I think we finally maybe got our messaging right. We're starting to see a little bit of a groundswell of referrals, and yeah, it's just been entrepreneur raising the money on an idea, and then trying to make it happen and it's capital. I just need capital.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it looks
Oh, I've gone to I know the guys that have some of the biggest fitness franchise platforms, and they're all doing the same thing. Exponential, I don't know if you heard of Exponential. At one point, it grew to 10 fitness franchises on one platform, and
oh wow.
they had Rumble, Pure Bar, all these different ones. And that founder left and starting a new platform, and he's opening up a different Pilates brand. Like Pilates right now, I mean, we were the first ones to bring Pilates in '95 when we opened the Reebok Sports Club in New York, and Pilates is blowing away cycling. It's blowing away yoga right now. There's a freaking Pilates, so everybody's doing the same thing. So they all want to focus on what's already worked, and I don't know, they're going to put a different name on it. And they're going to do a little different twist on it. But I just sometimes can't seem to get the message across that this market's big. Might take us a little work to get it rolling, but this is a big opportunity. So I'm also working to, it's not just capital, maybe finding the right partner that sees it, that's already got an infrastructure. Because, when I was CEO of YogaWorks, you got a CFO, you got a marketing department, you got it.
Hmm.
When I'm at right now, you're doing everything, and that's not easy. It'd be nice to have some structural support too. Anyway,
Right. Yeah. Well,
I don't want this to turn into a therapy session.
I mean, it sounds like an amazing idea. I'm still just, it's, I guess it's crazy that that nobody else has done something like this. So based off of you obviously wanting to take it to franchise, and where do you want to be in the next 6 or 12 months?
Next 6 or 12 months, get the flagship studio in the black so that the franchise story sells a little better. I think it's still ready to go to franchise right now, but everybody's like, "Hey, show us you get this one in the black." So that's the focus over the next 6 to 12 months. Because you take an idea. So, and with that idea, I got a list of mistakes and a list of things that we did. So for franchise, I built the first one too big, too nice. It's, bought the flagship, had higher expectations. So, the franchise model will be smaller, it will be leaner, it will be, there's lessons learned on this. But next 6 to 12 months, find the right partner, get this thing in the black, and then start gearing up to get the franchise business rolling out. Or, maybe find even a JV partner for the second or third one while we're growing. So I'm just exploring all possibilities.
It looks like a really nice place. I was looking at photos of it earlier,
Well,
inside and outside.
it's nice. I had I again, my background, sports club company. I don't know if you might not even remember, but we had the big sports club LA, and then we did the big Reebok Sports Club in New York. But this was before Lifetime. Lifetime
Right.
Fitness is like a big gorilla now. And these were basically urban country clubs, very luxurious, marble in the locker rooms. And so when I left sports club to build the prototype, when I went to Yoga Works and they were private equity guys, the first prototype was pretty nice. It was 11,000 square feet, 3 rooms, radiant heat in the locker showers. By the time I left Yoga Works, no bigger than 5,000. You don't need big locker room showers. 80% women, they don't shower. You learn.
Right.
Uh, so this one, I made it big and beautiful, but they won't all look like this going forward.
Right.
You don't, you don't need to.
Right. Yeah. I was surprised to hear when you said that. I don't remember what year you said, or if you referenced a year, about how there used to be cold plunges in the gyms. And because it's something, I have a cold plunge in my house and I love it, but I didn't know it was a thing before that left and now it's come back.
I don't know how old you are, but you might not remember names like Vic Haney or Jack LaLanne.
Okay.
Anyways, when I started in the gyms in '70, a lot of clubs would be every other day, men and women. They didn't work out together. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, men, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, women, split on Sunday. But you'd have the gym, and then you'd go in and they have a wet area, and then you might have a little pool, a jacuzzi, and then they had built-in cold plunges. These were built in. Even as late as the early '80s, the holiday spa out here, we had a couple cold plunges in them.
Oh
And then the
wow.
cold went away, and then boy, here they come back. We were the first spinning. We brought spinning in '95 when we opened up the Reebok Sports Club. Crunch might have done it about the same time we did, but spinning started out here in a garage with this guy Johnny G. And we built, and this spinning went crazy in all the clubs, and we had to put it in, and then it kind of faded away, and then Soul Cycle came in, and all of a sudden cycle was big again. So it's just, you just see the cycle in these things happening. um, but in the cycle, nobody's gearing on older adults. Spinning's not for older adults. Cold plunge, maybe it is, I don't know. But what's the trend now? You got cold plunges. Red light sauna is going to save your life. Go sit in
Hmm.
a sauna for 30 minutes, hop in a cold plunge, compression boots. I mean, they're all doing it. IV drips.
Right.
Oh no, here we go. You want to really get in it. My whole life we're preaching eat right, exercise, control your weight. Now you don't need to do that because even Lifetime Fitness now they're doing the drug. I don't know if it's Ozempic or whatever one they're
Hmm.
doing. Now it's like you're obese, want to lose weight, let the drug do it for you instead
Right.
of doing it your own. That's the world we're living in? Well, nobody's got a drug for brain health right now
Right.
until they.
Well, and we know that drugs aren't the best route anyway, right? When all these things can be solved without going to drugs.
Yeah, it's like food. Food is medicine. No, when it's kind of like during COVID. I don't want to get into all of that, but they're writing off brick and mortar gyms. They're shutting down gyms. You can get on a plane with 300 other people in a tube and fly in the air, but you can't go to the gym, which were mostly your healthier people. And I don't know these stats, but I think CDC, 8 out of 10 hospitalized during COVID had preconditions. Most were obese. They had diabetes. And in other words, their body wasn't in any shape to be dealing with a hard virus like that.
Right.
And then it was the write-off. Gyms were dead, and Peloton was going to be the next Apple, and nobody's ever going to leave their home. They're all going to exercise at home. All that bullshit was going down. Well, look where that's at right now. So but again, nobody talked about people should be exercising for their immune system. If they eat right, you'll have a stronger immune system. No, it's get vaccinated. You
Yep.
don't need to just take one and take our shot and you'll be okay. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that, vaccination, nothing getting into any of that, but nobody preaches. It's primetime television, two Whoppers for the price of one.
Yeah.
It just, you know, burger joints pop up on every corner, everywhere you want to go. And then where it even gets worse, you got me going is, you look at how children look up to icons. It's like, I don't know, who's the brother, the football player that's with Taylor Swift and his brother, the Kelsey brothers.
Hmm.
You know, kids are looking up to them. They're doing sugary cereal commercials. So
Right.
what do you? So my idol, I can eat Captain Crunch now because they eat it. It needs to change, but I don't know that it's ever going to change.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I during COVID, I lost about roughly about 20,000 followers on my Instagram because I was talking about these very things you're talking about, and one of them was that was one of the first health and wellness podcasts that I had. It was with his name is Dr. Jason West of the West Clinic, and he's in Pocatello, and we were talking about that. We were talking about what can people be doing, what supplementation can they be taking, because nobody, you're right, nobody was talking about it. The media was all fear mongering and don't do this, don't, yeah, yeah, they're closing down gyms. Luckily my gym didn't get closed, but usually nobody was in there. I'd go in there, maybe there's like one or two people in there, and yeah, that's when more important time to be taking care of yourself, right? So
Yeah. I mean, your immune system, our body's built to take care of things, but when you think about people's diets, their weight, they're not exercising, it's not working right. It's
right.
not going to. But I won't oversimplify it, but I think it is pretty much common sense. But it's industries against it. In the food industry. It's just crazy. I think sugar. What do they say? I was reading one. Sugar's like the new gunpowder. I mean, more people are dying from sugar than guns.
Right.
It's. I mean, diabetes, obesity in children. But what are we doing about it? You look at our. I don't know what year the No Child Left Behind came into effect in the schools, and they cut back PE and the arts for STEM programs and math because we wanted our kids to science and math and all that good stuff, and no exercise. There's a high school, if you want to look this one up, it's in Illinois. I think it's called Naperville, if I said that right, where a principal and a PE teacher got together and they flipped it on its head. They turned it around and they gave kids extra credit if they came in early and exercised in the gym. They get credits if they did exercise activities with their families. Basically, the results showed grades went up, conflicts went down. So then all the naysayers are like, well, that's a wealthy suburb. Well, some guys came out from some low income town in West Virginia. They did the same thing, showed the same results. But I don't know. Maybe I heard today that maybe a bill was passed. They're going to start bringing back the president's physical fitness test that we took in high school or junior high. Maybe you did, or
Hmm.
elementary school. You gotta start with the children. You gotta control the food they eat. But look what you're up against. I mean, look at the food industry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. Hopefully with some of the things that are going on in this new administration, I hope some things happen health wise that seem to be. I mean, they're being talked about a lot, and some of these very things you're talking about, whether or not there's going to be big change there, I don't know, but at least there's conversation now, about.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. That's got nothing to do with partisan or anything. That's just common sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's it's the right thing to do. But getting back to older adults, here's the other thing. I'll tell you what we're up against. My doctor said I can't exercise for a month. Your doctor's a knucklehead. I know they're so busy, but they're like, oh, you shouldn't do anything. Just don't exercise for the next 3 weeks. Well, there's a thing called workarounds. Well, what is their problem? Can you take a little time to tell them, be careful, do this, don't do that, but you should be active. The worst thing people can do is be inactive. So, if I tell you the objections I run into with members or different people, well, my doctor said I can't exercise for a while. I'd like to get my hands on that doctor, because they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
But, and I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying that it's easier, safer for them to say, "Hey, Jared, don't exercise for the next month, until this thing heals." So then things just get worse. You've got, again, our wellness. It's not our wellness. Our medical industry is for sick people. It's not for keeping people healthy. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wish everybody knew that. That's that's another thing I say. Yeah. It's just a revolving door, right? That's
Yeah, but it is. I can tell you that we've had members that I've gotten. We have one member we talk about. She's on her website, Ruth. She got off her diabetic. She got off her insulin. She had some heart medication she's off of. She's lost weight, and it's all by the right attitude, exercising, eating right. I mean, people, you can reverse things,
right.
and now got people that have been we have some members that, like, I've been in a cloud since my husband died. All of a sudden they start coming in. I'm feeling better. I'm around other people. My energy's back. You see it live,
Mhm.
not about, bodybuilding or what their muscles look like. It's about how they're feeling, you know, and, and how you feel is important.
Yeah. I mean, that's really important because that affects your mood and outlook and everything.
Well, there's science behind positive thinking,
Right.
but now I've always believed, like my mom used to, oh, Mr. Positive, like there was something wrong about being positive. Finally, there's different books and things out there where stress, the cortisol that comes out on stress, the fight or flight, people are living that all day long now. They're turning on the news. They're worrying about what's going on 5,000 miles away that they can do nothing about. Everything is negative, negative, negative. I think it's Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. One of his books was, it's kind of like diet. If you eat bad food, it's going to affect you. So eat good food. Well, if you get too much negative thought, it affects you. It affects you physiologically, and positive thinking can do the reverse. So um, there's a lot of that too. A lot
Right.
to that.
Yeah, I've actually read quite a bit about that and kind of the average amount of thoughts that or the amount of negative thoughts an average person has. And, that's just average, right? Not somebody who's maybe more of a negative thinker. And It's crazy. It was high. It was like three. I can't remember if it's 300 or 400 negative thoughts a day the average person has. Right. That's
Yeah, and that's damaging. That's
yeah,
damaging your cells and your body, and it's just to your health and your immune system. And uh, yeah, at any rate.
yeah.
So here we are, and we're trying to make a difference with the older demographic, giving them a place where they can feel comfortable, giving them something where some people that hate exercise, how much hear that this is something that's fun 3 times a week, 45 minutes. How many hours, you can't give up 100 and what 150 minutes of your week to get some exercise in. I mean, it's just been
Right.
swimming this stream for a long time, but at any rate, here we are. We'll see how it goes. But I'm a big advocate for the fitness industry, regardless of whatever their people are doing. Whatever we can do to keep people active and exercise, it's very important. But
Right.
this app is the people that haven't, it's still not too late. And it can make a difference in older adults if they would start even now. Muscle tissue can grow at any age. So get your mom, get your dad, get your grandparents, get them in here, send them to Q4 Active. We'll help them out. We'll bring
Yep.
one to your name too, Jared, if you want.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we need one here in Utah, or we need more than one. But
Where in Utah are you?
I'm like 20 minutes north of Salt Lake. I'm in Syracuse. I'm 20 minutes north of Salt Lake.
Yeah, I've been to Utah a few times. Pretty nice. What is it? The Sundance is over there by. Yeah, we had when I ran Yoga Works. It was for a private equity group, and they had their big investor group there, and it's a nice visit.
Up
And I
at
think,
Sundance.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then Baron Baptiste. I don't know if you ever heard of Baron. He is one of the big yogis in the big time, and his headquarters is over there in and not Sundance. What's the big ski resort by Sundance?
Park City.
Park City. Yeah, yeah. Not a skier. That's why. Not a big
Yeah.
skier.
It's definitely a ski town. Yeah, both those are nice. I really love Sundance. I was just up there actually the weekend before last, had lunch up there. Yeah, no, I think it's amazing what you're doing. That's really cool to even. It's cool to hear about it all. Like I said, it's just it's never, it's very innovative. I just never heard of anything like this, and I've seen, some videos, maybe, I don't know, it's maybe like 10 years ago. I was seeing a video of this guy. He had this little, he was an older guy, and he was probably, I don't know, he's probably in his low 80s. And he had this whole little kind of obstacle course set up outside in his yard. And, he was explaining what he was doing, and, where he was doing things to focus on cognitive function, right? And mixing in exercise. And anyway, that's what it reminded me but he had just, had to set something up in his yard kind of to do something similar to what you've set up to provide for whoever wants to go. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on.
Let's meet you. And again, your business. You say you get rid of log jams. So not I know not you're not to be interviewed, but what do you mean by that with your business?
Bottlenecks. So just bottlenecks in business, like anything that's frustrating that the person is dealing with. Basically, we're using. I don't necessarily always like to use the word AI, but we're using AI tools. But the reason I don't like to use that word is because technically we don't have AI, right? It doesn't exist. We don't have the ability to have AI. So, but automation tools, things to relieve admin time, and just whatever it is, whatever bottleneck, we just build and implement a system to resolve those.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, yep.
So
Well, when I get bigger, I'll reach out to you. But right now, with the one studio, we're just we're hands on everything right now. But yeah, well, I'll hope to look back on this conversation and take this thing to the next level. So that's what we're working on.
awesome. Yeah, I'd definitely like to talk to you down the road as well. That would be really cool to talk to you and see how well you've expanded and what the business looks like
Well,
down the road.
podcasters, it's all new. It's new to me. I like it now because you can find a lot of things on podcasts. But how many followers do you have there, Mike?
Well, so I have a lot of followers on my social media. this holistic voices is brand new
All right.
because it was pressed the topic before. So we're just getting ready to release this. I think we have six right now, and we're gonna start releasing them. And yeah, I'm excited, and I'm just shifting gears and going this direction with it though.
Yeah. We'll spread the word. You know,
Yeah,
good luck. If you're ever out in the LA we're come check us out, you know.
I definitely will. Thanks a lot. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right. Well, congratulations on the sale of your business. And I hope this podcast thing works well for you. And yeah, thanks for listening. And maybe someone's going to listen to your podcast. My number. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a
Uh,
lot, Phil. Yeah, no, yeah, I'll include your website, and so people know where to find you. And yeah, I really appreciate your time.